Hello guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I thought I'd make a video about solitude and doing things by yourself in your own company and being comfortable with that, like being alone but not being lonely basically, and sort of like how that can help lead to like more self-love. I think I feel like on my channel I show up a lot as doing things alone, which is true. I do a lot of stuff alone and spend a lot of time in my own company. And I get a lot of questions like, how do you feel comfortable doing so? How do you get over like anxiety to do things alone and things like that? So yeah, I just wanted to like talk a bit about that and yeah, get into it. I definitely want to start off by saying that I feel like the degree to which you feel comfortable doing things in your own company and doing things by yourself, I feel like is very much set up by your childhood and like how you experienced like life as when you were younger. I think that I experienced a lot of time alone and really learnt in my childhood to like be my own best friend from childhood, which is why I think that it's somewhat easy for me to do things alone as an adult. I feel like whether or not you had siblings, how connected to your family you felt, how you sort of dealt with like negative or like traumatic experiences as a kid, all can like play into like how comfortable you feel doing things alone and doing things in your own company. I feel like my personal experience, like when I was younger, I think that I found it difficult to open up and be vulnerable around other people as a kid, and I felt like being alone was like my safe space and like my refuge as a kid, because I didn't feel like that safe being open to other people. So I feel like that has definitely helped me be comfortable with myself and like be comfortable spending time with myself, because I grew up doing that. I feel like I felt safest when I was alone, and I kind of really learned to like self-regulate and process my emotions alone, which has its pros and cons obviously, but I feel like I just found like deep emotional release in like journaling and in being creative, like drawing, painting. I just remember like being a kid and just being in my room and just like drawing and writing, taking photos. Like it made me develop a lot of hobbies as well, I think, like spending so much time alone. And I feel like I found like connection in music, like listening to different music, listening to the lyrics and feeling like really seen and heard by music. In saying all of that, I definitely still think that there are things that I would go and do alone as an adult that would bring me like anxiety and worry, and make me feel uncomfortable. So I still feel like I had like barriers to cross in that sense, because I don't know, like it was at the start, it was things like just going out for coffee by myself, and I was like, like everyone's gonna look at me weird, everyone's gonna think I'm weird, or like, I don't know. There was a lot of like self-doubt and like questioning and like just anxiety around it, but got over that discomfort and got comfortable with doing that. And then I feel like it was like slowly doing little things, like first going out for coffee by myself, seeing how that felt, and then just like getting comfortable with that. And then once I felt like that was like okay and I felt comfortable doing that, then I was like, okay, let me do something else alone, let me take myself out for dinner, see how that feels. And just like leaning into the discomfort kind of, and then it just gets easier and easier and easier. And then like traveling alone, going camping alone, or doing walks and hikes in nature. I remember I went on a hike last year and I was like, oh my god, this is so scary, going out into like nature where no one else is and doing a walk by myself. Yeah, it is kind of scary, I guess, but I feel like doing that made me feel so much more comfortable, and I was like, let me go camping alone. And then when I went camping alone, I was like, oh my god, this is terrifying before, because I was having all of these thoughts like something bad's gonna happen, someone's gonna like pull me out of my tent. But it didn't happen. And then when you expose yourself to the discomfort and like lean into the fear and you have a good experience, it like reminds yourself, or like teaches yourself that experience that you thought was going to be fearful and uncomfortable actually was a really pleasant experience. And then it gives you so much like reinforcement to do it again and makes you feel so much more comfortable with it. That's how I feel when I went camping alone. Like I was honestly so scared. I remember the night before I left, I was in bed and I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh my god, should I do this, should I cancel it? Anyway, I went and I had the best time, like such a good time, so good. And when I went, I was like, I'm so glad that I went, because if I didn't go, I wouldn't have been able to like feel what I felt in that experience. And I honestly just felt like so free and so like just like at peace with myself. And yeah, so I think that just definitely doing things like little by little and like leaning into the discomfort, and then once you do it and you realize that it's not that scary and that crazy, it's like makes you more comfortable to do it again, or like to do something else alone. I feel like doing things so independently is definitely something that I only started doing in like 2022, last year, because I was in a relationship before that, and I was in like back-to-back kind of like long-term relationships since I was like 17. So I feel like I never had like the opportunity to like do things fully alone and to like fully step into like myself, because I was always with somebody else, and I feel like the relationships that I in weren't really like aligned to who I am. I definitely think I kind of like stayed in them to please like parts of myself that I hadn't dealt with. But I feel like after I left that relationship that I left in 2021, I felt kind of like out of touch with myself, and like out of touch with just like who I was as a person, and like the things that I enjoyed doing, what brought me happiness. I feel like the place I was trying to get back to was like how I felt as a kid, as I was saying before, like when I felt so comfortable in my own company and like being in nature, and just like the emotional release of journaling, and just like this state of like inner calm, and like just like I've got my back, you know, like that feeling. I feel like I lost touch with that, and then last year 2022 I was like, I need to get back to this place, wherever this place is. And I feel like I had like a vague idea of like what would bring me back to that place, like the things that I said before, like journaling, being in nature, listening to music, just like these little things that I've kind of like built into like my fabric as a person through my childhood. And yeah, I just felt like I had been kind of compromising on my happiness whilst I was in these relationships. And when I got out of it and I was single, I was like, wow, I'm so free to be me, which was such a liberating feeling. I feel like being alone, like having all of that time, this time just like being single and like leaning into my independence and like doing things alone, has allowed me to be so much more introspective and given me the time and space to reflect on things. And I feel like once you reflect and you can understand why things are the way they are, you feel more whole. I feel like I understand myself a lot better now because of like all the things that solitude has given me. I don't know if I would have been able to, I don't know, I can't say like I would or wouldn't have, maybe in the right relationship, but like I don't feel like in a relationship I would have been able to reach this place of like, I get me, and I feel like the solitude I had was necessary for me to get to this place where I now feel like a lot more fulfilled, which comes from like understanding myself a lot better. I think that not understanding yourself and like having this lack of understanding of who you are can cause you to like kind of like settle, I think, in relationships. I feel like for me personally, like so much of what made me me felt unclear, and so because of that I felt myself kind of like settling in these relationships and connections that didn't feel aligned with me, because I didn't know what there was to align with, if that makes sense. Whereas now I feel like I know like my core values, like my core self, and I'm not willing to like settle or willing to like compromise on certain things, because I feel a lot more like grounded, that's the word, which is such a nice thing. Honestly, it's so refreshing to feel this. I feel like for me, solitude has definitely been like a healing thing and has led to a lot more like self-love and deeper self-understanding. Do I think it's necessary? Yes and no. I mean, I feel like we're all so different, and it's like impossible to give like a blanket answer if like solitude is necessary for you, because so much time alone might trigger some people and might make some people like just might put them into a negative mental state, whereas for some people they might find it really liberating and freeing. So it's like different for everybody's experience. For me, I feel like it was a necessary prerequisite for self-love, in the terms of like it really made me feel more in touch with like myself, which is reflective of my childhood, as I was saying. So it's definitely very like nuanced and different for everybody's circumstance, but I think that it can always be beneficial. I think that we need a balance. I don't like to lean into the label too much, but I feel like I am a bit of an introvert at times, mostly. I feel like I can have extroverted tendencies. I mean, we're all like different, you know. We're not, I don't like labeling things as like I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, because I feel like we all have like, there's always an overlap, and like different people can make you feel different ways, and like we're always in different chapters in our lives, and it's just like not so one-dimensional. But yeah, I think I'm a bit of an introvert, and so I think that also plays a part in like why I love so much time alone. But yeah, those are my thoughts on solitude and self-love and learning to love your own company. I definitely think that it is like such a critical thing in life to like be comfortable, have some degree of comfort with your own company and with your own self, because of course it's like beautiful and enriching and amazing to have relationships in your life and like friendships, just like connections with people, like interpersonal relationships, but at the same time it's so nice to be able to like have that and then come away and be like, like I love it here. It's like a feeling of home within yourself, like feeling really fulfilled when you're with somebody and then leaving and then feeling like a same level of fulfillment within yourself, you know? I think that it just opens up a lot of space for like calm and peace when you are comfortable with yourself and comfortable with your own company. But yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.